What's up, everybody? I'm David Hane. Welcome to episode 215 of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. And on this podcast, I'll be walking with one friend, and I'd like to encourage you to do the same, to be able to take a walk with a friend and discuss this episode. When we get back, we'll get into the episode entitled, I Am Only One. Welcome back to episode 215 of the A to D From Addict to Disciple podcast entitled, I Am Only One. Today's going to be a walkabout through a park called I Am Only One Park. And going to do it a little bit differently this time. Instead of going through and reading what people wrote in the journal, I'm going to be walking through the park with a friend called Michael, who's going to be sharing his thoughts and reactions. And a little background on Michael. He's a guy who's been trying to establish his recovery and has fallen into a cycle that he just can't seem to break free from. He gets clean for a while, and then after a couple of months, he relapses again and again, and this has been going on for over 5 years. His longest time clean has been 6 months, and his shortest has been 6 days. And he's come to me and said, David, can we just talk this out? I'm missing something here because I just can't seem to get in recovery and keep it. And the thing that I feel every time I start recovery is I'm all alone. I'm the only one walking this path, and I just can't seem to find what I need to do the next right thing day after day. So I decided we'd go to this park. And as we start in the park, we find a sign here at the beginning that says, many people stuck in addiction and denial or in recovery often feel like they are struggling to do it all alone and they want to give up. And Michael just starts chuckling because that sounds a lot like him. So let's start the walk on the park and see what we come up with. Here's the welcome sign, and it says, Edward Everett Hale, American author and historian in the 1800s, wrote this, and I quote, I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something, and because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. Wow, that's deep. Let me read through it again just so it sinks in to everybody a little bit. I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. And right away, Michael's chuckling at this, and I say, Michael, what's up? He says, that's my hang up right there. I can't keep focus on the something that I can do. So I don't know that I'm refusing to do it. I just can't seem to find it. So let's go on the walk, Michael, and see what the signs say for us. We come up to the first sign, and I notice something different right away about this park. It says, each of the signs will be two-sided. And we invite you to read the one side, discuss it, and then walk around to the other side and read that. So, again, it's based on this writing by Edward Everett Hale. And the first sign on this side that faces us says, I am only one. Yeah, what do you think, Michael? David, I don't know if you ever feel like you're all alone, like you're the only person who understands you or the only person who cares about you, but this is me. This is my problem. Every time I start recovery, I feel so alone, and even if I try to do it, I'm only one person, and I don't know that I can do it by myself. Addiction proved that it was bigger than me, and why do I feel like I have to fight it all alone? Wow. Good start, Michael. Let's go around to the other side of the sign and see what it says. And the other side says, but still I am one. Yeah, that's the way it's leading us, Michael. You know, you are only one, but still you are one. David, I get moments where I start to believe in myself and tell myself I can do this, but I don't know how to stay focused on the one day at a time. I know, and I hear from everybody else, if I can realize that I can do the one day at a time, and I can do that alone, I'm going to grow in strength day after day, but that doesn't explain why I keep relapsing again and again, and sometimes I get 6 months clean, but that one day slips away. Well, Michael, let's head down the path and see what the next sign says for us. And we get to the next sign, and it says, I cannot do everything. David, that's so true. Whenever I start the one day at a time, I get overwhelmed trying to balance life, recovery, finances, relationships, job, just where do I stay? What do I eat? What do I do every day? There's so much pressure that just builds up on me, and very quickly I realize I cannot do everything. And I think that's a key thing that I'm learning about why I keep relapsing just a couple steps into this park. Whew, what do you think? Well, Michael, let's look around on the other side of the sign. And it says, but still I can do something. And Michael, I think that's the key that we all need to learn. That we don't have to do everything at once. That if we find someone to support us, some friend to talk to, some group to just share our thoughts with, they can help us prioritize what is the one thing to focus on each day. And in recovery, you know, maybe the one thing to focus on each day is peace or joy or happiness or just not picking up today. Wow, David, that sounds good. I can honestly say that I know when I relapse, I do lose focus on staying clean and sober one day at a time because my mind's all caught up in all the other stuff. Okay, let's go down to the next sign here in the park as we're walking through this Edward Everett Hale writing. And this side of the sign says, because I cannot do everything. Yeah, David, it ties right into what we were just talking about. I think I need to learn to accept that statement. I need to accept I cannot do everything. But really, for me, it's about more than my time in addiction. I've always been goal-oriented and success-driven from my childhood. And I carried that into my addiction. When I got addicted, I was all in. I had to be the best addict, the best hustler, the best at, everything that was involved around in addiction. It wasn't just getting by using one day at a time. It was being a pro at this job of addiction, so to speak. And it seemed like in addiction I could do everything I felt like doing. And maybe that's why getting and staying in recovery has been hard for me, because the first thing I realize when I start recovery is I can't do everything anymore. Sure. That's big, Michael, because, the reality is we bring that pressure on ourselves. We try to do everything. And things were simpler in addiction because the everything was just a few things. Let's look at the other side of the sign. And it says, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. Wow, David, where do I find the strength to refuse to do what I can do? Or to find the strength to not refuse to do what I can do? You see, I can read this two ways. I refuse to try things in recovery that people tell me I can do, but I also struggle refusing to do the things that I shouldn't be doing. My sponsor suggested that I start each day with the Serenity Prayer, where I can accept the things that I cannot change and find the courage to change the things I can. And maybe that's what I'm taking out of this thing, that, because we cannot do everything, we have to stand firm and don't refuse to do the things that you can that will aid your recovery. Actually, as I think about this, this has been a short walk, but I'm feeling the weight lifting off my shoulders, because I guess the key that I've been looking for is all I need to do is the something that I can do and not worry about all the other stuff. Wow. So true, Michael. I think this has been a great walk and a great session we've had together. And maybe the next step, Michael, would be to start writing down, almost like Post-it notes, sticky notes, but in a journal, wherever, start writing down what's the one thing, what's the something that you can do each day, and commit to yourself that you will not refuse to do that something. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. I hope you enjoyed the walkabout with Michael and myself, as he, I think, is a perfect example of so many of us out there trying to figure out where to find the strength to focus on that one something that we can do every day, and don't refuse to do it, to stay firm and do it so that we can stay strong in recovery. If you want to talk to me about this, you can message me on the link in this podcast, or by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com, or go to my website, www.fromatod.org, and click on the contact page. Tune in Monday for our next episode, and as always, stay safe and stay resilient.